Hey everybody, welcome to another week, which means another Tuesday on audio with the Serve podcast. I am Andy Roddick, and it's been a weird couple of days in Rome. Whoever had Novak gets a full metal water bottle dropped on his head on their bingo card is celebrating. That was one of the weirder, more unfortunate things. And as I saw it, kind of like everything, we digest little snippets of Twitter before we actually know the story. And so short version is fan leans over trying to like get a high five or a autograph as Novak's leaving after his first round win against Mute. And the sleeve with the water bottle, he kind of bends over, water bottle just slips out, and like it couldn't have been more of a square hit on Novak's skull. Novak goes down, like Bob Bryan would have said, like a sack of potatoes. It was pretty serious looking, and kind of he just walked off. And then, we're kind of like, okay, you can get your bell rung if you get hit with a metal water bottle full of water, not looking on your head, that's gonna hurt. So next day, Novak comes in and it was pretty funny. Comes in a bike helmet, kind of making fun of the whole situation, which I kind of digested as like it's all good. Here I am making a funny joke, and then comes out against Tabilo and doesn't look like Novak at all. Loses 2 and 3, and it might not have been that close. He got broken 4 times. 3 of the 4 times that he got broken, he double faulted on break point, which is weird. So I'm of two minds. It's like, okay, I'm, concerned about form. It just seems like there are kind of these weird situations, and maybe it's just proving that even with time, someone like Novak still needs a consistent cadence of tennis. Right? I don't know that you can show up as, no matter how great you are, show up all the time on short rest and have it work out every time. And then I'm like, well, okay, so does that just mean we're entitled to like this greatness where he doesn't need matches and we expect him to just be the greatest forever? It's a weird moment. I'm not one to get carried away with like a given result, but on a 5-month sample size or a 6-month sample size, he got beat pretty good against Sinner. It was 4 sets, but it was like the first 2 were quick. He snuck out, and then the 4th set was downhill. Skiing lost to Demon. United Cup before that 4-4, which is a pretty, that's a straightforward win in professional tennis. Loses to Nardi at Indian Wells. Which is strange. He goes all that way in 10 days of prep and the whole thing, and then loses. And then in Monte-Carlo, he makes the semis, which for, the rest of us dummies is like, it's the best result I ever had at a Masters 1000 on clay. Loses to Ruud for the first time ever. Had never lost a set to Ruud before that match. But more concerning was like struggling with breathing. His match against Demon, he was like struggling for air, early in matches, like 20, 25, 30 minutes in, and then comes to Rome, and, there's Bottlegate, and we don't know, only he can tell us how he feels about that. But then goes out and kind of lays an egg, said it didn't even feel like it was me, against Tabilo, who's, a good player. But not Novak Djokovic. So there's 2 things. One, he could figure it out. Good thing about slams is you're not playing guys that are 25 in the world first round. Like, you have time. You can get through some ugly matches. So maybe he gets through that first week and turns into Novak again. But, and I say this, it's all based on the shadow that they've created. I feel like I say it every week. I'm more concerned about his tennis game than I have been in probably like 15 years. Knowing that maybe he just needs a bunch of us saying that, and to, the kind of me against the world mentality that he has mastered over the course of his career. So wouldn't surprise me if he played well at Roland Garros, but how long can we say, oh, he'll turn it around? Like, no, he'll just definitely turn around. He's fine. He's Novak. And I've been saying that the entire year. This one was weird. I thought he would, the ramp up, you're looking at the French Open, you're looking ahead towards Wimbledon, he's said he's prioritized the Olympics. You felt like the ramp up was coming and what he's kind of done before. And that wasn't a ramp up.
Well, and I think the other crazy thing is that, Jannik Sinner is only about 1,000 points behind him for world number one.
Well, so Jannik Sinner, if Novak, I want to say, I'll get either if Novak loses in the final, Sinner's number one. If he loses first round, Sinner's number one. So basically, Sinner makes the semifinals to become number one, and Novak loses in the final. Basically, so Novak loses in the final. Sinner needs to make the semis. Oh, I heard it was even. Well, no,
that's what the Forbes article says.
I would almost argue with that. I don't know if they know that he loses 2,000 points. If he loses the first round, 2,000 points are coming off immediately. So we'll see. But Sinner, at this point, we're going to be arguing about which tournament he takes it over. There's an air of inevitability about it. I think Sinner becomes world number one, but the Novak story is just kind of strange. So it's like you're seeing, and that was on the heels of the Rafa match, which a dip in tennis form is easier to digest with Rafa at this point in his career because he hasn't played much tennis in 2 years. Lose to Hubie Hurkacz 1-3. First time I think he's ever lost that lopsided in a clay court match. He's just not getting from. He used to be able to get from defense to neutral in one shot, right? And he could do it over and over and over again. So all of a sudden, you're playing 6 offensive shots and you're back at the starting point. That's what Rafa has been able to do on clay forever and a day. He's just not able to turn defense to neutral and then to get ahead. His offense looks okay. I mean, when he's getting the ball in the middle of the court, he's able to kind of bully it around a little bit. I thought he served better in Rome this week than he had before. He's just not flipping defensive from the corners into neutral start over Magoo like he has been before. But Rafa leaving Rome, and I don't know if anyone who has seen that clip of him basically walking over. You basically walk from all the player areas over a bridge to get to transportation when you're leaving. And Rafa walks over that bridge. There had to be 15,000 people just shouting his name. Rafa also, when he left, wasn't in a great mood. They had some sort of like tribute ceremony on court that they were rolling out, and he just walked off, which I thought was hilarious. No mas.
He just had it.
No. And then he went to press and he was very like kind of matter of fact. And I kind of respected it because it was like, you can know the reality of your body. You can be a pragmatist, which Rafa is famously a pragmatist, about where you are right now. 3 weeks ago, he's like, I don't even think I can win a pro match ever again. And then he won matches in Madrid, won a match in Rome, which had you told him that 3 weeks ago, he'd be like, that's great. Expectations reset. He was pissed when he lost to Hurkacz. Like, he can know the factors. He can know what's going on. Then you get out there, blood boils, you're disappointed, and you're pissed. Like, it's just, we're not rational humans. We're not rational humans. Not in the moment, but the tribute that the fans paid to him, he's won 10 times in Rome, which is, none of these stats made sense before these guys came along. Like, it's just not a realistic thing. I mean, Novak's won Rome 6 times. Like, great clay quarters win Rome twice, maybe. Specialists, where it's like, these are the months that I live for during the year. These guys are different gravy. I have no idea what to expect from either one at Roland Garros, right? Like, bet against greatness at your own peril, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they bring. Maybe Novak needed this. Maybe he needed to be the down and out and chip on the shoulder and dummies like me doubting for a second. I don't know. But that tribute to Rafa was phenomenal. I kind of like that he just left the court. That was kind of funny. It's like so un-Rafa like that. It made me chuckle. He was like the rest of us for a second.
So what can we expect from Roland Garros without these kind of big names?
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's a weird transition in time.
Well, we were talking about it off air, and it's like, okay, I'm going to write down, forever and a day. And I hope I frame this question the right way. When was the last time you would have taken the field over like the three favorites? Right. So if I give you right now, and the betting favorites, I think right now or the four betting favorites are Alcaraz, and it was minus 210 yesterday. Novak at like minus 250. Sinner was like minus 350, and Rafa was the fourth favorite still at minus 1,000. When was the last time that you would have taken the field over the four favorites? So, obviously big three plus Murray, like you wouldn't have done that ever. You would have been betting on like hackers like me against them. And then Carlos enters the conversation, and then you're not betting against, remember going to the US Open last year, it's like, oh, it's Alcaraz or Novak. There are no other players. Like that was the conversation. I mean, I think you're going back to like even 03, I think you take like the four favorites against the field. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going back to like 02. Like the Wimbledon was a mess in 02. It was like everyone lost, Hewitt won, but it was like Malise, Rusetsky, like a bunch of guys that were in the top 20. I think you're going back 22 years. Like however far you're going back, that age can legally drink. That's how far back you're going.
I don't think Techie Sean was even alive.
Techie Sean, what people don't know is that Techie Sean is 15 years old. And he does a great job. And it's weird because he's also married.
It's a joke legally, by the way, if anybody is listening.
Yeah. Well,
we don't use child labor.
Yeah, we don't. He's calm down. He's 16. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, he was saying that. What were you saying, John? You were saying like ever since you've been alive, like we looked back to basically the last draw that didn't have the big three in it, and it was it was the Aussie Open 99, I think, was the last time there wasn't one, and Roger played Roland Garros for the first time in 99. So you don't remember life without these guys.
I was born in 98, so that would have been I would have been a year old.
Jesus. You missed it. Those are great days, and they were terrorizing all of us. God, you're young. Mike, I will say real quick, and then we're going to get to, I want to get to this field conversation and how it affects it, but I also want to be distracted so we have like a group text of our buddies, and Mike Hayden goes,
oh my God.
He sends this text the other day, and he goes, his wife is Rose. She's awesome. Rose just called me a middle-aged white guy. And it's like, it was like crickets from the group. And I'm like, okay, well, Mike, why don't you tell us how old you are?
I'll be 40 at the end of the month.
Okay.
So I'm 39. I'm not technically middle-aged yet.
And you know the average, okay. You know the average age that a man lives to in this country, correct? Do you know that?
Yeah, I'm in denial. No.
It's 76 years old.
God. So
I'm not great at math. The last time I went to school was like right when Sean was born. So like by definition, you are middle-aged, and are you white?
Yes. And I'm
middle-aged
by definition.
So are you a middle-aged white guy?
Her commentary was correct.
You were so pissed. I loved how pissed you. It's like, it was as if she said, like, I don't believe in gravity. It was as if she became like a flat earther for a second. Like you were that upset at like the content that was coming out of her mouth.
And I mean, the context was as we were leaving the Wells Fargo golf tournament where it was the average.
Yeah, just because you're younger than every other guy that's watching the golf tournament that you're leaving doesn't mean that like you skew the national average like for any reason. Okay. Anyways, I just thought of that, and I was like, I remember I was next to Brooke.
Thank you for that.
You were like, Rose just called me. It's like you were tattling on her. I'm like, is a little on the nose.
No one backed me up.
No, because of
I tried a different text thread too, and they said the same thing.
Because math.
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, because math.
So maybe anyway, the Saudis will sponsor it.
Yeah, that's another lane. Anyway, so like at Roland Garros, it's going to be weird because who are the favorites? I think like there's 15 guys that could convince themselves they can win this tournament, right? Like you're looking at Casper Ruud. He's made the last 2 finals. Hasn't played great in Madrid or Rome. Made the final in Monte-Carlo. Stefanos Tsitsipas wins Monte-Carlo. Has been up 2 sets in a Roland Garros final before. Rublev wins Madrid and is still alive in Rome as of when we're taping this. Like Taylor Fritz made the semis of Madrid, has made a final in Munich, and is still alive in Rome. Like he can convince himself that he's got a shot here. Medvedev has never played well at Roland Garros, but like is playing pretty good on clay. Zverev can convince himself that he's one of the favorites. Now he has some off-court distractions. He is trial for domestic abuse starts that week. So he's going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. And let's see how that shakes out and then comment on it. But, it's just there's so much weird stuff going on that has nothing to do with healthy tennis players in a draw. Dimitrov is playing well. Like he can convince himself, I can be in the last weekend of this tournament. Karen Khachanov has been in the semis of a slam before. I mean, it's just crazy how many names.
Could we see a run by any of these young guys coming up?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yes for this Roland Garros, yes. Like, would it shock you if Novak had a rough draw and like struggled in the first couple rounds based on he is better or worse, and I know everyone's going to yell at me, and I can't wait for you guys to tell me I'm full of shit and how much better he is than me. I get it. I understand that. I fully understand that. And also, there have never been more question marks about him in the last 15 years going into a slam. Not if he can win. Like, he could win. He could still win the tournament. But he is trying to find something on a tennis court right now for the first time in a long time. And if you disagree with that, your head is in the sand. Your head's in the sand. Like, that's just denial. That doesn't mean that he can't win the tournament. Doesn't mean that he can't find it. There are more question marks about him entering the tennis arena right now to play the first round of a slam than there has been going into any slam.
When you were playing, when there were tournaments, big slams or 1000s, where you felt like kind of the favorites were a little hobbled or maybe not at the top of their game, what was the energy like in kind of the locker rooms and backstage, where everyone kind of felt like they had an opportunity? Like,
that was only like 18 months of my career. That was only like, I mean, it's depressing. That was only like 18 months of my career. And then they all happened. But, yeah, it's just different. I have a hard time even thinking about it because it was just such an alternate universe from how I played most of the slams. Even when I was 2 going in, it was like Roger was an overwhelming favorite for 5 years. So it's got to be exciting though. I mean, if I'm one of these coaches, I am drilling into my players right now. Like, the opportunity is knocking. It's time to turn the page. Fuck history. Not in a disrespectful way, but in a way that we're approaching a tournament. I can respect all the greatness and say, it's fucking time. And I would be in my player's ear if I'm one of these 15 guys that I just named. But it's interesting because it's like, the women's game has been wide open where we've had a bunch of slam winners, and now it's almost flipped. Now we have, 4 or 5 like favorites that are seemingly at the tail end of every tournament. And the men's side is like, who's the favorite? Carlos Alcaraz, the betting favorite, he's missed 2 out of the 3 Masters 1000 and said he couldn't hit a forehand in the other one. He's the betting favorite right now. It's open. It's like Taco Bell right now. It's open 24/7. You can drive through. It's open. It's open. The other weird thing in Rome this week is like people, there's like some sickness going around where post-Madrid, Sabalenka said she got something there. Rublev deserves more credit for his Madrid victory because he said, like, I was basically eating like mushy foods because I couldn't swallow because of tonsils. Rybakina said I caught something. and pulled out of Rome, you know, tennis is like a weird thing because it's like we're all in each other's spaces all the time. Whether locker room, player dining, players lounge, you get one person to come into something. It can. It's not like you're like the Lakers where it's like someone gets a bug and that team goes down. Like the tournaments can go down, and something was going around. I don't know what it was, but Rublev deserves credit because apparently he was eating Gerber's baby food the entire week and still won a Masters 1000, and was in the hospital for 2 days in Rome, and then showed up and won a tough 3-setter in like 3 hours. Like I know sometimes we don't give credit to like a Rublev type who gets mad, freaks out on the court, and it's it doesn't have that like positivity of competitiveness like a Rafa or a Swiatek. And I'm not saying he's that level of competitor, but I'm just saying like Sabalenka is now a great competitor, and she doesn't get enough credit for it because she loses her shit. You can simultaneously lose your shit and be a great competitor. And Rublev has shown us something the last 10 days. He's been unbelievable. Sabalenka too. But it just takes one person. Something's going around. I think it was in Madrid and then maybe some carryover, but it doesn't sound fun. These people aren't like soft. Like tennis players play with a lot of crap all the time.
I mean, the way Rublev described it, he said his throat was completely blocked. I mean, like
he said they were like during his speech, he thanked the food prep people at Madrid for making him soft foods. It's like I just picture him like getting grips and strings out of his bag and a little mini blender.
I like can't even take my kid to school when I like have a sniffles. I tell my wife, I'm like, Dad, I'm like, I can't.
That's because you're a little middle-aged bitch. Also, we'll wrap here. And this is obviously been Racket Rundown, presented by Wilson.
I like your hat.
Thank you, Wilson hat. You want to know what else they did? That was hilarious. So they sent. It's the first time I've gotten like stuff, like product, in forever. I just haven't done it. The taping they used said "Let it rip, tater chip" on it, and they sent my daughter Stevie a soccer ball, like a Wilson soccer ball, except they had like spray painted the Wilson on the side of it, like the from Castaway, because I said Wilson. It was pretty cool. It was a nice touch. Nice touch. Easily pleased in this house. Racket Rundown presented by Wilson. Kind of cool thing, and I don't think this has ever happened. Last 16 of a Masters 1000 on the women's side. 4 mothers still in the draw on Mother's Day. Osaka, Svitolina, Kerber, Azarenka. Now, when you hear this, Osaka will have been beat and others will have played, so maybe it'll be a little bit delayed. But it's pretty cool. Mother's Day, peak of women's sports. 4 mothers, 25% of the draw in Masters 1000 were mothers. That was pretty cool. I just imagine all their kids going, "Your mom's in the round of 16. Your mom is." I don't have anything else. I don't think, Mike. I think that's it. I hope you. It seems like you're coming to terms with being middle-aged. The good news is I'll always be a little older than you.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as broken up about it. I'm more of a realist, apparently.
I thought I was okay about it. Apparently I'm not.
Sean was born in 1998.
Good God.
Fuck me. That's too much. It's too much. You know who was awesome, and you're going to hear it later in this audio pod. She aired on T2 show, was Danielle Collins. She joined us, and she like listen in later in this episode. She was phenomenal, and she just reached out to Social Sophie on Instagram and like saw a clip, was like, I'm going to come on. I'm like, great. It was phenomenal. How happy were you?
I was pretty pumped up. I mean, the fact that she like doesn't have, we've had active players reach out to us, but it's always through like a representative or management. Yeah. And she's just like gave us a follow and then was like, "Hey, I'd love to come on." And we're like, I was like, "Are we being trolled?"
This is unbelievable. Like we literally, it's like, "Is this real?" Social Sophie's like, "Hey, I think Danielle Collins just," like, what? What did she do? Well, she just reached out on Instagram and said that she wanted to come on. I'm like, "Is this real?" And then it's the thing is like, okay, how do I guess just give her my number and tell her to reach out. I don't know. It could have been, I mean, it could have been a fake account for sure, but she was on video. It was her.
It was her.
She knew all of the things about Danielle Collins.
And she confirmed she has a small team. So it all makes sense.
Yeah, listen to the interview, but she's so flattered by producer Mike's middle-aged fandom.
Good God.
That's coming up later. And now I'm actually excited about this. It's time to announce a fun new segment, interactive for all of you, and an opportunity to get featured on the show. A couple of weeks, we're going to do a new segment called Get Served. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to take submissions from Swing Vision users via social media posts, and we will pick 4 videos to feature on the show. Those we pick will get some swag, and most importantly, some on-air pointers from me. Here's how you do it. Record your best serve or rally using the Swing Vision app. If you don't already have it, right now would be the time to go download it. Scan the QR code on screen if you're watching, or go to swing.vision/served. Link also in the description of the show. Bonus, you sign up for the Swing Vision Pro and get a free swing stick using our served link. Okay, then record your next session. Earmark your best rally or serve right in the app, and then post it to X or Instagram using hashtag #GetServedByRoddick and tag at Swing Vision app while you are at it. Then I'll be picking videos to show here in the show and give my constructive thoughts, or I might just rip on you for the enjoyment of others. I don't know. Again, go to swing.vision/served, sign up for Swing Vision, and get me your best of. Remember to post with hashtag #GetServedByRoddick and tag Swing Vision app. We'll see you next time.